Hello, my name's Stuart, and these are my walks. I'm an amateur, just enjoy walking, and I just thought it'd be quite nice to share those walks and some thoughts and history of the area that I walk in. So this is a walk from Retford to Babworth Woods, a small part of the Chesterfield Canal. Um, it's not just about the canal and the woods, though. There is an interesting drain that I was trying to look for the name of. But I think it's just that. It's just a drain that flows through from Gampston Airport in the southwest through to the northwest and then to the northeast into the Idle River, where there's a pump there for when it overflows. That's my understanding of it anyway. But yeah, it's just really just a general interest thing. That the reason for doing this. Inspired by some great YouTubers such as John Rogers. I do not claim to be an author or an expert or anything like that, just sharing the joy of my walks. So I hope you enjoy this. And this little map here is just showing the source of the drain, the dike, whatever it is, and to its end as well. So this is just a short walk really, about 4 or 5 miles in a circuit. It follows the Chesterfield Canal through through Retford Cemetery really, bang in the middle from Bridge 54B on the canal network. So I'll turn off so it's kind of a walk along the Chesterfield Canal opposite Babworth Woods. And then through a little snippet, a little forest that's managed, full of lime, pine, right over different trees. It is probably really peaceful in comparison to the inner city canals, London, Hayes, out of Middlesex, that way. It's quite suburban, and this is in the middle of a town, but this is a rural agricultural town, and it's steeped in history and its trade, and most of that you can find on Wikipedia. There's a guy called John S. Priestley who wrote a book about the history of Retford in about 1825, and it's quite worth a read if you're interested in that kind of thing. So I think I need to get some kind of steady cam. I don't think this is going to work very well, but it is just a try. And it is absolutely stunning. Fortunately, I've got some food and some fluids with me. Anyway, it's not just about me, it's about this walk. So this is the old towpath, and some of the bridges. I'll show you some pictures. You can see where the old ropes for the horses rub against the side of the bridge. This bridge that we're coming up to is the East Coast Main Line. It's Bridge 54A over the Chesterfield Canal, and it was one of these prefabricated bridges that was installed on Christmas Day in 2000 and something. Can't quite remember when. I'll find it out later. But yeah, it's quite impressive. The previous bridge was, well, I'll have to check on Network Rail, but it was like a Victorian construction, iron, and I think it's seen better days. So these prefab Meccano kit type bridges get put in quite quickly, and that's why they're able to put it in within a day. Just improve the foundations and do all their engineering magic. But that is Canal Bridge 54A, probably one of the more modern ones. Yeah, I think on your walks sometimes there's not that much variety of fauna. You see the nettles, Japanese knotweed, bramble bushes, cow parsley, and you can hear the East Coast Main Line there. What's it called? Hogleaf. But yeah, you've got your old blackberry bushes, hawthorn, sycamores. It's quite nice. And then I'm just going to go into a little wood. I think this is Babworth Woods. I think it's split into two. This is the right side of the canal, or the east side. Just over there, which you can't see through the wood for the trees. Just over the canal there is the other part of Babworth Woods in the Babworth Estate. I think there's a place called Dog Kennel Hill or Woods or something, which is on that Babworth Estate, which I'll tell you a bit more about later. Here's the blackbird. Find myself a snail or something. Anyway, yeah, so this is parallel footpath to, it's in between the East Coast Main Line and the Chesterfield Canal. It's quite good, actually. It's probably about a mile long, completely traffic free. We've just got this little copse to our right full of, I think they're horse chestnut trees, English horse chestnut trees, some silver birch, and yeah, it's just left to do its thing. And then on the left there's a variety of different shrubberies, should we say. Yeah, it must be about 28, 27 degrees. It's very nice, great weather. Yeah, so yes, this is Babworth Woods. And yeah, the Chesterfield Canal. On the left, I've got the Chesterfield Canal about 10 metres away. And to my right, I have the East Coast Main Line about 40 metres away. So loads of you coming from King's Cross will be very familiar with the edge of the woods here, actually. So yeah, I've travelled many times on that line between Scarborough, my hometown, and King's Cross, working in the city. One of the nice little touches here are these little seating stands, so you can just perch, shall we say. So it's quite a long way, and in winter, it can be wet, and it's quite nice just to stop and have a breather. But especially in summer, which makes more sense. Maybe I should script this. So yeah, this before the Chesterfield Canal and the railway. It was all just farmland. The substrata is a mixture of sandstone up from the north of Nottingham all the way to York, I believe. So then we've got like a clay to the east. And some people say, for example, John Peasley, that it's Retford, because there's a ford in Retford and people used to cross it. But that just goes back to the Doomsday books, but it's spelt slightly differently. There's about 5 different spellings. But yeah, it's quite interesting. And there's a poem as well. A drunken, I think they call it Dogger English. There's a poem by Barnaby the Drunk. I think it's 1760 something. It's just about his fish that he ate in Retford on his travels. Well, that's one paragraph and one poem that's written and documented back to the 1660s, so it's not too bad. Obviously, the Doomsday book is just about cows and fields, or oxen and taxes. But yeah, Retford's got quite an interesting history, actually. I mean, I've lived here for 20 years. Originally from Scarborough, I've lived in London, worked around the world a bit, and yeah, it's a really nice little town. And it was back in John Priestley's day, when he wrote the history of Retford in about 1822 or 1825. So it's mainly agricultural, but the canal was for iron and coal, as well as agricultural goods, corn or wheat. And in Retford, there were, in the 1920s, there's a map that shows the paper mill and the dye works in the middle of town and various malting houses. So if you like your beers, if you're interested in your clove dyes, and how people went about their lives back then, the Retford Museum is a fantastic place. You can see it in one visit, but like most places, give it a couple of days, a couple of visits, and you get quite a lot of information out of it. Should you be interested, some quite interesting artifacts actually. There's a log boat that was found locally, and there's a chess piece and a golden knight on a horse, I believe. But I think it's a chess piece, but obviously very fact specific. We can make some assumptions, can't we? Some educated guesses of whatever facts are available. Anyway, so little advert for Retford Museum on Grove Street in Retford. So, still in Babworth Woods. I've not met anybody yet, which isn't surprising. It's been a scorching day. It's a Sunday. Usually bump into people walking their dogs. And there's bumblebees everywhere, which is quite a nice sign. There is another path, actually, that goes through these woods here, on the other side, that runs parallel, or kind of in a parabolic curve, you might say, around the edge. I first heard that on one of the Star Trek films. Obviously it's a mathematical term, but whatever. Yeah, so absolutely gorgeous. So I'd say, not quite halfway through the walk yet. I'll tell you something, when you're recording, you notice how noisy the train line is. It's Hull Trains going to King's Cross there. So the other path you can take through Babworth Woods, and the canal is right over there, probably 5 of those electricity posts away, about 120 metres, 150 metres away. Zoom in a bit for you. Yeah, but anyway, it's lots of agricultural fields, and that's just a pine forest. I don't know if it's a Douglas fern or a Norwegian spruce. If I haven't got my book with me, but I shall have a look and edit it over. Anyway, onwards and upwards. There's that was a field last year, and now it's half full of houses, which is cool. It's a shame that company didn't spend more money in improving the walking environment, but there you go. I won't get political. It's boring, important stuff actually, but I don't know, you can only do so much as a couple of individuals. Anyway, yeah, so still in Babworth Woods. I say I'll pop up some maps, and yeah, that's good. So it's not just about the Chesterfield Canal, it's about a variety of different waterways or water features in the area. And one of those is a drainage ditch. It's a kind of a dike. I don't know if a dike is what comes off the canal, but this drainage ditch stretches for miles. So where we are at the moment, in the northwest of Retford, this spans out to the southwest, and it goes out to a place called just before Gampston Airport. So it's up on a hill. There's a farm there, and it just it twists and winds around a 25-metre contour all the way through Babworth Woods and across up to the Idle Valley itself, where the lakes are. And I think it does go into another ditch that terminates or is pumped out into the Idle Valley. And we'll look at that on one of the other walks. But just here, yeah, so what we have here is a dike, if you like, that comes down from Gampston, near Gampston. And yeah, this is the tributary, this is the route it takes. It doesn't seem to have a name. I've checked the Environmental Agency maps, the County Council maps, historical maps, and it just seems to be something that's been dug or flows naturally as a drain, and then is eventually pumped out into the River Idle. So you can see it's still quite wet. And then this comes out over this concrete bridge through the Hawthorn on the other side there. So the drain is actually just over to the left there, where all the shrubs are sprouting up quite nicely, and it floods this area, this footpath along the edge of this pine wood during spring and autumn, and yeah, it's pretty dry at the moment, as you'd expect. But this leads under the East Coast Main Line eventually. I don't think we'll be able to see that. And then under the North Road, it goes through the Idle Valley, and then, as I said before, it ends up in the final drain dike. There's a pumping station to pump it into the River Idle. As the sun's coming down slowly, it's little hours, it's only like 5 or 6 o'clock. You see how the light, that evening light, permeates the trees in the pine forest. It's one of my favourite. I don't know why. I think it's something to do with growing up in Scarborough and playing about in the woods and stuff. But it's kind of just the light and the pine. It's really nice. Chilling, relaxing, that is. So, yeah, so this, if you can't see this really, wide angle. So that leads to the railway tracks. That's the drain in the middle there. The drain with no name, as far as I can tell from historical and present maps and the water boards, and it's just a drain. This is a really quite nice little footbridge. There was another plank there, so that's going to cause problems for people with wheelchairs and parents of children with disabilities as well, with their buggies, which is a shame. So, just coming to the end of the walk now. Absolutely gorgeous evening. It's about 20 past 6, the 11th of June, 2023. I'm just enjoying the sun going down and it getting a bit cooler on the way home. That's where I started the circuit, or the beginning of the loop, and just again on the way home.